everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Charlene and this is my little YouTube channel where I talk mainly about books but also with a little bit of lifestyle and travel as well, and today I'm going to be taking you through my May 2025 reading wrap up. Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well and you've had a good week. For those eagle-eyed people out there, you might be able to notice that I changed my background. I've switched my room around a little bit because this was the same room that I do my videos in, and it's the same room that I work from home, so it's the same room that I work from. And before, you might remember that my background, I kind of was in that direction instead. So the background of the room was a bed and just a few other bits, and I thought it looked pretty cute and cozy. But I guess in the background of a work video like in a work call, like, or on a Zoom call or something like that, it's maybe not that professional to have your bed in the background. So we switched it around at the weekend, and it's one of those things where, you know, when you start and you're like, why have we done this? Because we were just in a world of pain. There was like furniture everywhere. Everywhere needed to be like cleaned and deep cleaned and hoovered and all of that. We're trying to shuffle furniture around each other, and the room's not that big, so we were trying to kind of like move things around to the best of our ability. And anyway, we moved it around. The bed's now in the corner, which it looks really cute because it's now got its own cozy little nook. It's like in an indent, and it's like got a shelf above it, and so it all looks very cozy and cute and separate to the rest of the room. And then this here is my office where I work from, but it's also where I do obviously my videos from, and I'm so pleased because we've managed to fit my bookshelves in here. These were downstairs in my living room, but when we were moving things around, it kind of left us with a few weird gaps because this room is a really odd shape. And so we were like, this might be the perfect opportunity to move the books from downstairs to upstairs, which was great because before they were in a bit of the light coming in from the back door, and we always worried about the books getting like light stained and things like that. Light stained? You know what I mean, sun stained and things like that. So also it made more sense as a background for my videos that we have the books in the background. So we, with much pain and effort, got them from downstairs to upstairs. That was a day and a half, me and my husband just trying to shuffle around some giant bookshelves. Anyway, we got them up here. Here they are. My books are all on it. It looks, there's quite a few gaps at the moment because we've recently just had a big declutter, and we sent a lot of things off to the book swap shed and also to some charity bags and charity shops and things like that. So right now there's a few gaps, but these are my bookshelves. They go right down to the floor as well, which you can't see because of obviously my chair is here in the background. But I'm going to take you through these shelves on another video and just show you what kind of books we've got, what collection we've got. We've got quite a few limited edition and collectible books. So yeah, just wanted to show you guys all of that. But today I'm going to be going through my May 2025 reading wrap up. So the first book I wanted to talk to you about today, the first book I read in May 2025 was Survive the Night by Riley Sager. And this was a book that I was really looking forward to getting around to reading. I bought it at Easter, and that was because Riley Sager is quickly becoming one of our favourite authors. We read The Only One Left, which was our first Riley Sager book that we read. But then after that, we were like, loved it, loved his writing, I loved the style and the pacing and everything of the book. So we started to gather a few others, and Survive the Night was one that my mother-in-law and husband had recently read. And both of them said that it was a book that they couldn't put down and that they really needed to know what was happening and just kept reading. And I really love a book like that where you get fully lost in it. You end up reading for way longer than you expect to because you're so involved in the story and you really want to know what's going to happen next. So when I heard them talk about it, I knew this had to be next on my list. So Survive the Night by Riley Sager. It's a thriller, and I'll just quickly read you the blurb. Charlie Jordan is being driven across the country by a serial killer, maybe. Behind the wheel is Josh Baxter, a stranger Charlie met via the university rideshare scheme. On the road, they share their stories, carefully avoiding the subject dominating the news, the campus killer, responsible for 3 student murders, has just struck again. The miles tick by and Charlie begins to notice discrepancies in Josh's story. And why won't he let us see inside the trunk? As she begins to plan her escape from the man she is becoming certain is the killer, she starts to suspect that he knows exactly what she's thinking, meaning that she could very well end up as his next victim. A game of cat and mouse is about to play out. In order to win, Charlie must do only one thing: survive the night. So, this book I've done a full review on, like a full review video, so if you want a little bit more detail, then go back and watch that. I'll link it in the description. But just to give you a very quick overview, I'm a person who loves thrillers and crime and true crime. I find all of that very interesting. I'm one of these people that likes to listen to true crime podcasts and things like that, like Case File and My Favourite Murder and stuff like that. So anyway, I knew that this book would be up my street because, like I said, I like Riley Sager. I like his style of writing. I love a thriller, I love true crime, and reading the blurb, the way that the campus killer is described reminded me of a lot of true crime stories that I've heard about or watched documentaries about, things like that. So I already was very interested by the book, and also given the feedback from my mother-in-law and my husband, I knew that it would be really good as well. So like I said, I've done a full review on this, so I won't go too far in depth about it, but I'll just give you an overview. Basically, there is a girl called Charlie, and her best friend has just recently been murdered within the last few months, and it is part of this, like the blurb explained, part of killings by the campus killer, and the campus killer hasn't been caught yet. So Charlie just absolutely doesn't want to be there, understandably, anymore without her best friend, not knowing if there's a serial killer on the loose. She just wants to get home, and she lives like 6 hours drive away with her grandma, away from the campus that she goes to school at. So she decides that she needs to get gone ASAP. So she goes to the university rideshare board. She meets a person there, Josh, I think his name is, Josh, gets in the car with him in the middle of the night, because he can only leave apparently in the middle of the night, of course. So she gets in the car with him in the middle of the night for this like 6.5 hour journey, and then as soon as she gets in the car, she's like, why have I done this? Might he be the campus killer? Have I been stupid here? And it's just from there the story of her being stuck in the car, trying to work out, is Josh the campus killer or not? What is going on here? There's a lot of stuff that doesn't feel right. It doesn't add up. There's a lot of lies that she's clocking onto that he's telling her, and she's just like, your story's all over the place, like what's going on with you? So yeah, it's just about that, and the story is interesting and it's dramatic and there's so many twists and turns. And one thing that I've learned about Riley Sager and his writing is that he loves a big dramatic twist at the end. So obviously I'm not going to give that away, but it's just the way it ends is so dramatic and like so like out of nowhere. Sorry if you can hear that, there's a big truck that's just gone past. But it's super interesting. I really enjoyed reading it. One of the things that I loved most about it was that it was so fast paced, so it didn't feel like a chore to get through. I read it fairly quickly, and the chapters aren't that long neither, which for a slow reader like myself made it so much easier to get through. Another thing that I really like about the book is that it's time stamped and it takes place over the course all of one night. So I love that. I love it when books do that, because you feel like there's so much more tension and like atmosphere to it, and you feel like you're there with the character. Like everything that's happening, I felt like I was finding out about it at the same time that Charlie was, and so I found that really interesting. As well as being time stamped, each chapter is divided by where exactly it's taking place, which I loved as well, and I just thoroughly enjoyed reading it. I ended up scoring this a 4 out of 5 stars. So yeah, if you like a twisty thriller, if you like something that's kind of based on true crime and just that kind of mysterious, anxiety inducing kind of story, then this will definitely be up your street, and I'd highly recommend that you read Survive the Night by Riley Sager. And the next book that I read in May 2025, and one that I'm still reading, I haven't quite finished yet, I've got like 100 pages left, but I wanted to talk about it in today's video because it's taken me a little bit of time to get through, and so I didn't want it to seem like all I'd read so far this month was Survive the Night. So I will talk about it, but obviously I can't give you my full review, my full thoughts and everything like that, because I've not finished it yet. But that is Spellbound by Leighton. This is also a very, very recent pickup. My husband, I feel like I'm always saying my husband bought me this, he got me that, but he's very generous. And when he's out and about, and if he sees any books that he thinks that I might like, he will always pick them up for me. So that's why I'm always saying that. And also I keep saying my husband, his name is Adam. So Adam, pick this up for me. And as soon as I got it, was pretty much as I was ending Survive the Night, so I was like, gotta read it immediately. It looks so much up my street, which I know probably doesn't seem like it, but I am a Disney girly at heart. I've read Disney, I've been to Disney a bunch of times, very luckily in my life, and I read a lot of very like heavy stuff, like thrillers and horror books and things like that, and so I really wanted to read something that was a little bit lighter after Survive the Night. So when he bought me Spellbound, it felt like the perfect thing to move on to next. Just before I start talking about this book, can we just appreciate how beautiful the cover is as well? And also, it's got black edges. I mean, look at it. It's so stunning. To me it is. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Is there anything? Yeah, it's just a nice red cover inside. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So anyway, let me read you the blurb of Spellbound. And just to let you know as well, on the cover it says, a wonderfully imaginative retelling of Sleeping Beauty. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh yes, I've got to read this. So let me read you the blurb. In a remote castle perched atop a windswept island, a long-awaited royal heir is born. In accordance with ancient custom, a blessing ceremony takes place to bestow the princess with magical gifts, along with a terrible curse. Except this is not the love story you may think you know. There is no enchanted sleep for the princess and no handsome prince to save the day. Just three women who together concoct a desperate plan of misdirect that changes the course of all their lives. But dark magic cannot be tricked, and as the end of the curse edges closer, each of the women has a choice to make. They can wait to find out if the worst will happen, or they can turn to face the incoming storm. An atmospheric, feminist retelling of a classic fairy tale that asks, what if Sleeping Beauty never went to sleep? As soon as I read that blurb, I was like, oh my god, that just sounds so good. It sounds so interesting and exciting, and I don't often read like a fairy tale kind of story. So when my husband got me this, when Adam got me this, I was like, yeah, I've got to read it. It's just so beautiful, and like I said, a nice break from all the heavy stuff that I read. So like I said, I'm like just over 100 pages off the end, so I can't give you my full review of this. This is, by the way, 414 pages, so it's quite a chunker actually. Obviously it's a kind of fantasy book, fairy tale fantasy book, but it's like the blurb and the cover said, it's a retelling of Sleeping Beauty, so it's not quite the same story as you're used to. When I was reading it, I was obviously thinking about Maleficent, because obviously the film is from Maleficent's side of that story, and so I was thinking about that a lot when I was starting to read it, because of like the curse, and the way the story opens feels very much like the start of Maleficent. So yeah, that was obviously reminding me a lot of that story, because it's all set in the same world really. But this is so far a very different story and a complete retelling, which I absolutely love. I love Sleeping Beauty. I love Disney. I love a classic fairy tale. I love to get like lost in that world and kind of give your mind a little bit of a break for a moment. I like that. I like to have a little bit of a palate cleanser, I think this is. So yeah, so far I'm really reading it. I'm really, enjoying reading it. It's told from the perspective of multiple different people. So far, what I'm discovering about the book is that it's broken down into chapters, and each chapter tells the story of somebody from their perspective. So you've got the story from the princess's perspective, a story from somebody else's perspective who I will not give away, but it's very central to the story. You've got the perspective of a couple of different women basically, and her mother and the king and people like that. But it is a very, very interesting read so far. I've been really, really enjoying reading it. It's very, very true to the story of Sleeping Beauty, but told in a completely different way, and it's just got me so interested. I'm so invested in what's going to happen. Basically, as the blurb explained, there is a curse that's been put on the princess, and so the whole story follows what initially happened with the curse, and then what they do after, what the family are going to do, what her mum is going to do, and the people around her to try and protect her from this curse, and also they've got a deadline. There's a deadline to this curse. Basically, something will happen by the princess's 17th birthday, and so it's like a race against time to try and unpick this curse, and also trying to find out, if we can't, what is going to happen. So I'm kind of heading, would say like I'm heading towards the final chapters of the book, where I think that that's going to come to a head, and we're going to find out what's happening, what is going to happen with the curse, what's going to happen with the princess, what's going to happen with all of these different people who are involved in the story and know a lot about what's going on. I think it's going to be very dramatic. I think it's going to impact a lot of people. I have no idea where the story's going to go, but I'm really, really enjoying it so far, and I'm really happy that I chose to read this and to pick this up. It's like something different. It's something different from my mind. It's, yeah, just something completely different to what I normally read. I'm very much enjoying it. When I've finished, I will give you a proper full review and not just a little rambling. I will do a full proper review, spoiler free, and let you know what I'm rating it. But so far, I'm very much enjoying it, and it's not been a chore to read at all, and it's just been a pleasure. Okay, so now I'll move on to my book pickups for the month, and actually Spellbound was a pickup this month, but then as soon as I got it, I started reading it pretty much automatically. So this was a book pickup this month. Then I will get on to my others. So I've got One of Us is Dead by Peter James. This was given to me by my mother-in-law. We gave it to her. I think it was some Mother's Day. My husband gave her a collection of books because she enjoys reading too, and so this was one of them, and she said she really enjoyed it, so she passed it over to us to have a read, and then I'm sure we'll put it either in a charity bag or in the book swap shed or something like that. But she really enjoyed reading this, and she, like me, enjoys a good thriller, so I'm very much looking forward to getting around to this one. I haven't heard anything about it, but it does say #1 bestseller on the cover, so let me quickly read you the blurb. From the creator of Her Majesty Queen Camilla's favourite fictional detective, ooh, Camilla, a detective superintendent Roy Grace novel. Can a dead man commit murder? When James Taylor arrives late for a funeral, he has to stand at the back of the small church. As the service progresses, he notices a man seated 6 rows in front of him. At first, Taylor thinks he must be mistaken, but the more he looks at the man, the more convinced he becomes that this is his old school friend Rufus Rourke. Except it couldn't be him, could it? Because 2 years ago, Taylor attended Rufus Rourke's funeral. He even delivered the eulogy. On the other side of Brighton, at Police HQ, Detective Superintendent Roy Grace has been alerted to a number of suspicious deaths that he can't get out of his mind. But how are they linked, and how could they possibly be connected to Rufus Rourke? Roy Grace is about to find out just how dangerous a dead man can be. Whoa! That sounds very interesting. I really, really love a thriller. I love something that, like, you know, has got packed full of twists and turns, and just from reading the blurb, it sounds like this one is. I also love that this is set, obviously, in the UK in Brighton. That's interesting. So yes, this is one that I can't wait to get round to. I do have my last video that I posted. I'll put a link to the video in the description of this book, in this video. But that was my TBR list for the rest of the year. Obviously, there's going to be other things that come in and out of that, but there are a few books on there that I really want to get to before the end of the year. So this wasn't on it, but now I've read the blurb, this does sound very interesting. So this might have to just kind of like sneak in there. Okay, so the next book pickup I have this month is This Is Why We Lied by Karen Slaughter. This is another one that I'd never heard of, but it came from my mother-in-law who very much enjoyed it. And I've heard absolutely nobody talk about it, so let me just read you the blurb, which is very short. Welcome to the luxury McAlpine Lodge. Nestled in the mountains, it's a perfect getaway until a woman's body is found. Everyone is a suspect. The cruel father, the toxic mother, the bitter family, the silent staff, the suspicious guests. Each of them is guilty of something, but only one is a killer. You'll never guess who. Again, that sounds like something that's really up my street. It reminds me, just reading the blurb, I don't know anything about it, but it reminds me of like a fictional book version of Cluedo. Like where you have a setting where it's like, oh, could it be Mr. Peacock in the study, or Mrs. Peacock, I can't believe I got that wrong, or Colonel Mustard in the ballroom. You know, it just sounds so up my street, because this girl loves Cluedo, by the way. So that is another book that I can't wait to get round to. And my third and final book pickup of this month is very random, by the way, but bear with me. A Night to Remember, the classic best-selling account of the sinking of the Titanic by Walter Lord. So this got bought for me by my lovely husband because I'm really interested in the Titanic, and I don't know why, really. I think it's because when I was a kid was when Titanic came out, and I just watched it loads, and from then on I developed some kind of like weird interest with the Titanic and the whole story behind it. So this book basically is a account interviewing, I think it says interviewing all of the survivors, or some of the survivors of the Titanic, to give a first-hand account of the Titanic's voyage and sinking. So this to me sounds very interesting. Only a very short book. It hasn't got very many pages at all, and that's all acknowledgements. So it's got like around 170 pages, there or thereabouts, 176. So this will just be a very quick light read, something that I'm very looking forward to reading, and also looks like it has a very good flop, which is enjoyable. But yeah, just something random, but something that interested me. So yeah, looking forward to reading this one too. So those are all of my reads and pickups for May 2025. That's my reading wrap up done for the month. Read some really interesting things. I've got so many interesting things to look forward to reading. We are going away for a couple of days soon. It's just going to be like a little kind of woodland lodge type of situation. So I'm going to take something with me to read there, and I'm very much looking forward to that. And I will do my very best to video that for you as well, so you can see what that's like. But yeah, that's everything this month. And also I just wanted to say, I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers, so thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed to my little channel. I don't know how that's happened, but I'm eternally grateful for everybody that watches any of these videos and has subscribed to my channel. If you've watched this video to the end, thank you so very much. If you've got any recommendations for me, let me know in the comments. If there's anything you want to know from me, or any recommendations you need from me, then just let me know. If you could like this video, I would love you forever and ever. And if you could subscribe to my little channel, I'd love you even more. And just thank you so much for taking your time to watch me today. I really appreciate it. And I will see you in my next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.